So, dear friends, it's a moment of exhaustment, but also enlightenment and, energy. And I'll start by being very dry and academic, inspired by Kimball Musk's talk that, if I was a Tesla Model S, then the EAT Forum is a super power station. And I think that is exactly what this should be for academics, for policy, and for business. And if there's a red thread, this picture highlights the fact that we have really addressed the necessity for the whole food agenda, as Frank Reisperman ended the panel here about healthy diets from sustainable food systems, is a prerequisite for us to have a chance to deliver on the Sustainable Development Goals and to deliver on the Paris Agreement and to be able to have a transformation towards a prosperous future for humanity. And that this is, just like Gunhild pointed out when the WBCSD partnership was presented here, a question of going big or going home. And I think that is one kind of key action point in this work. But this power station energy would not have been accomplished only by digging ourselves into the contents of global change on the menu. But of course, what would we have done without Femi? So a warm clap of hands again for our phenomenal moderator. And If you remember, Femi, I ended here last year by saying that you're now a compulsory, integral part of the EAT Forum, and I must say that, we cannot do without you, so we'll call you back, and it's been, that's a threat. But this would not have worked in this phenomenal stage here if we hadn't had our team sitting right back in the corner here who keeps the technology going in a way that is so professional and, walking through this enormous highlight here. We have another friend of ours who's been giving his blessing right through this forum, Ban Ki-moon. He genuinely believes in the food agenda as a top priority for the Sustainable Development Goals. And as you know, we'll have a UNGA meeting at the General Assembly, not least getting the food agenda on healthy and sustainable diets in the antimicrobial resistance agenda. So thanks, Ban Ki-moon. Thanks also to many of the driving radical thoughts we've had around transition towards equitable, towards ecological and sustainable food systems. We've spent time in awarding really, really passionate drivers of change towards sustainable, healthy diets and food, and they're so fantastic and part of this whole journey. I hope you all feel that this has been a moment where we've had a lot of exchange and ability to pursue different action agendas together from, members and participants, us in this room, but also, some unexpected exchanges like Bent Høie, the Minister for Health in Norway, together with Jamie. We hope that these kind of interactions between policy, business, and science has given you a lot of energy to pursue actions forward. It has been a moment of launching many initiatives, and I'll come back to that. This is, in my mind, in particular, one of the very, very promising opportunities we have to get the World Business Council and EAT to work towards transformative business, science, society changes and get the food agenda really at the top of the world agenda for sustainable development. We've had the privilege with royal presence, not only royal presence here, but royal presence really working with us. And I must admit, not to be unpolite to anyone, that I tweeted immediately after her panel that this is the best panel we've had. And it's not because it was purely female, that could be the explanation, but actually that was phenomenal to have Karina and listen to Peggy and the others, and Metamar did a fantastic work here. And then I think it's good just to take one step back. Many of you have been at the EAT Forum, perhaps all three of them, and just to give a testimony from the EAT core team that when we met 3 years back, it was, to be honest, largely about talking. And it was an important talk. It was about brainstorming and raising the awareness around how do we actually frame the whole agenda around healthy diets from sustainable food systems. Year 2 was also talking. a little bit more, and we started to really get traction on different initiatives. But I think it's fair to say that year 3, the EAT initiative has matured, has become a platform where you can come and really be operational. And we've had a number of strategic, practical launches and examples of outputs from the EAT initiative. And I dare say, and I think we all agree, that this is still just the end of the beginning. And therefore, there's so much more to be done in the future. I won't go through this in the list. Of course, Jonathan Farrell and others have presented this, and you've been here right through these days. But it is just a summary of what happened just over the past 2 days in terms of launches that we've done. So we are, really proud of having an EAT Lancet Commission. Richard Horton was here presenting this, the world's most prestigious medical science journal. We're going to do a mini IPCC assessment to be presented here next year at the 2017 forum. So we're just giving it 1 year to get a summary of what does science say on the gaps and opportunities for a transition towards healthy diets from sustainable food systems. The C40 initiative, which is a phenomenal opportunity to get our agenda into cities, the Eat Nordic Cities initiative, the whole Eat WBCSD initiative and partnership, as we talked about just earlier, the local Eat Awards, the Eat Global Innovation Award, all initiatives that have been concretized thanks to our dialogue, thanks to us together defining in a co-designed way what are the priorities forward for EAT. And please feel this as, we all own this together, but you should also feel absolutely assured that new ideas and new initiatives should come to the fore. And this is exactly what EAT is, a platform for curating new, exciting, innovative, transformative initiatives for healthy diets from a sustainable food system in the world. But we've also done something which I think is really important with the EAT initiative, that this should be the platform where you should be feeling, so welcome to launch different initiatives that don't necessarily have to be EAT-owned or EAT-driven or EAT-produced, but that this should be a place where we can get echoes around the world because it's so professionally driven. So when the Global Nutrition Report was presented here by Karina, this is an example of how we should use EAT. You should come here and get the latest insider information of where we are on our agenda on food, and it should also be a platform, therefore, when we can launch different initiatives. So think about that. We're in this exciting things going on. Let's use this platform to become a truly global platform to physically and in cyberspace reach the world. And I really want to emphasize that what has enabled us to come to this point, apart from all of us here, is really the new partnership between EAT, the Stordalen Foundation, and the Wellcome Trust. And it's something that is really a proud, important, and recognition of this important initiative to have the Wellcome Trust, the world's most prestigious, in my mind, funder and supporter of research in the area of nutrition and health, to come on board as a core partner and really enable us to be an institutional avenue for success in the future. So, we're quite strong today. This is no longer just a platform for dialogue, it's a platform for action. We've had a whole series of competence for in a completely new way, in a demand-driven, bottom-up, co-developed fashion. And you've spent the morning in dialogues on operational issues. I don't even know what the outputs are. I just hope that this is, go big or go home kind of ideas. And they've been, just looking at the contents, it's clear that these are really connecting with key agenda areas in the world. Everything from the SDGs and the business trajectories, the cities' sustainable food systems initiatives, the idea of getting civil society to be more engaged towards change in the future, the antimicrobial resistance dialogue today, preparing actually for being a business science voice into the high-level UNGA General Assembly meeting in September. Very concrete, very, action-oriented, and that is so inspiring and so important. But ultimately, it's about food. And we've talked about food, we've dwelled about food, we've been focusing on the scientific and the business case for food. But of course, we've also eaten some nice food. And it's been something that we take for granted, perhaps. I certainly do that, I must admit. Tim Lang has been coming 3 times to me and found that I got my food on my shirt, in fact. I don't know what that is. I must be a very confused person in general. But it's been, beautiful food, prepared with so much care, sustainable, healthy, really putting so much heart into our menu during these days. And I'd like to, particularly on behalf of all of us, thank Nicholas, who's the chief chef at the Nordic Choice Hotel here, and particularly the lady in between, who is Katrina, who is the CSR head for Nordic Choice, which I'm sure is the one controlling him on getting us into really sustainable food. So a clap of hands for this team. And actually, I'm not even sure if it's true, but the rumors have it that in order to serve us, they've actually got every chef to come in to work here during these days, because they put this as, it's really such a high quality to have you here as so influential people on food. So this has been the moment for Nordic Choice to really deliver. And then, of course, we've had these two guys helping us as well last night in terms of this phenomenal menu, and Sam Cass and Marcus Samuelsson, our friends and real ambassadors for our whole agenda. And we can, work with them in our continued actions in the future. And then just a final little personal testimony. I mentioned that already last night, but I feel that looking at the evolution of EAT, we've also accomplished something really important this year, which is to give voice for a much, much wider cultural diversity in the world. The North, the South, the equity, the justice, the fairness, and the sheer heart, fundamental challenge related to food. And I think we started off in a fantastic way during this forum, and Michael Pollan last night gave a phenomenal talk on the whole dignity and colonization issues around consumer trajectories. And of course, the president of Samoa, I think, really shook us up in the morning of the first day of how cuisine, culture in Samoa plays such an important role for a sustainable future. We have the whole poverty agenda of the president of IFAD reminding us, right as we speak, 50 million poor farmers are suffering from the worst drought in the last century, and the impact that this has on food insecurity and insecurity for poor people. So we've actually covered some new ground this year. And then finally, there is a lot of nice statistics on what you've accomplished, what we've accomplished, and the number in the upper right hand, this is the kind of cyberspace statistics. And we have been phenomenal, actually. We've reached over 10 million people around the planet just by your efforts of communicating across the world. And then I'll just close with one slide, which is, I realize, a bit egoistic, but I kind of like this one, I must admit. And it can hopefully be a bit of an inspiration for the transformation we need, not only in the pace of change towards healthy and sustainable diets within a safe operating space, but also in our mental thinking, that we now need to place food at the center stage for a prosperous, healthy future for humanity on Earth. And please, if it was a question of us going big or going home, that's actually wrong. Go home, but go big. And see you next year on this date. Thank you so much.